Welcome to the Hawk World Report. My name is Tim Board, and this is the place for all things Hawkman, Hawkwoman, Hawkgirl, and DC Comics from a Hawk's perspective. So I hope you join me for the next few minutes. The Black Adam movie is getting closer and closer. We just got a 1 minute kind of a trailer, I guess you could call it, a couple weeks ago, and we finally got our first glimpse of Aldous Hodge as Hawkman. What did you guys think of the look? I was a little surprised. I wasn't expecting red pants, other than that, he looked pretty awesome. I mean, he seems to have some sort of chest piece instead of the regular bare chest and harness like we see in the comics. But he looked pretty awesome. It was kind of a far off CG shot, but as we get closer to the movie, I guess we'll get more and more shots of Aldous Hodge in costume and more details about the movie. I did a poll on Twitter a couple weeks ago of what everybody thought of the costume, and I was surprised. Over 70% said they were super psyched by what they saw. So the reaction seems to be generally positive about Hawkman that we've got coming so far. We'll see as we get closer to the movie and get more details. But today I thought we'd talk about the history. Now, these two have a really long relationship starting from ancient Egypt. And looking at the comics, we'll find out that back in the day, these two were like brothers. They're just really, really close, had a close relationship. And it's really interesting to read. So I thought we'd go through the comics in chronological order today and just see what all's been going on between these two and kind of get a grasp of what maybe to expect in the movie. But it all starts with the JSA series back in 2001. Black Adam had joined the Justice Society, and for a while he was a member there. The first thing that of clue that we saw was when Kendra Saunders, Hawkgirl, subconsciously called Black Adam by his ancient Egypt name, Teth Adam. And Black Adam was kind of surprised by that. And Hawkgirl really didn't realize what she was doing. Back during this time, she was all confused and she had memories from past lives coming back, and without her really realizing what she was doing. And she was pretty messed up at this time. And that was one clue. That was the first clue that something was going on. And then later on in the scene, Flash, Jay Garrick, goes into the Speed Force. And to get into the Speed Force, he uses help from Black Adam's speed, and he goes in, and to get back home he's going to use Black Adam's energy signature, kind of like a tether, to find his way back to the 21st century, where he finishes his mission and then he's heading back. He finds Black Adam's energy signature and he follows it, but lo and behold, he ends up in ancient Egypt. And the last page of issue number 20 of JSA, we find Jay Garrick looking up at Prince Khufu, who is Hawkman in a later life, Nabu the Wise, who is one of the versions of Dr. Fate, and Teth Adam, of course, Black Adam. These three are looking down on him. That was a big reveal there. Then in the next couple of issues, the three of them kind of show Jay Garrick what they discovered, the Thanagarian spaceship and the nth metal, and all the things that they created with the nth metal. And when Jay Garrick's getting ready to try to go back into the Speed Force to get back home, they bring out this weapon called the Claw of Horus. Now they've made this, they forged it out of nth metal, and it kind of looks like a gauntlet of some sort. And this is the most powerful weapon that Hawkman has ever had. And it's only appeared in the comics a few times. I haven't seen it for the last few years. But apparently, the three of them, Black Adam and Dr. Fate, and of course Prince Khufu, the three of them made this gauntlet together, which is really interesting. How that Black Adam had a hand in this. And they give it to Jay Garrick and they say, please give this to Hawkman when the time's right. Please take it with you. And so Jay Garrick takes that and he safely returns to the 21st century. Now, right after this story, in the next story, that's JSA number 23 through 25, is a story called The Return of Hawkman. Hawkman had been missing from mainstream comics for the last 5 years or so, since 1996 through 2001. He had not been a member of the Justice Society yet, but people were started kind of like saying Hawkman's coming back or something's going to happen. There was these ominous signs and everything that were popping up. And they all end up on Thanagar, Hawkgirl with the Justice Society, including Black Adam. And how it works is that on Thanagar there is this well called the Well of Spirits, and it's a doorway to the Hawk realm that Hawkman was sent to the end of the Hawkman Volume 3 in 1996. And he's trying to find his way out, but he can't find his way. And there's a Thanagarian demon called Onimar Sin who's taken over Thanagar, and the priests want Hawkman and the Justice Society to help them overthrow Onimar Sin. So they ask Kendra to go to the Well of Spirits and stick her hand in there, and Hawkman will be able to sense her presence and use that as a beacon, and he will be able to find his way out of the Well of Spirits. Well, sure enough, that's what happens. Hawkman emerges from the Well of Spirits, and there he is, back after 5 years. And in one of the interactions, Black Adam says, "Do you remember me, Prince?" And right away, Hawkman is like, "Yes, I remember you, Teth Adam." And right away, they acknowledge that they knew each other in the past. And then later on, after this story ends, they go back to Earth, and Hawkman joins the Justice Society as well. When Black Adam joined the Justice Society, Atom Smasher did not like that idea at all, and they were just going up against each other constantly at the beginning. And that's kind of interesting because Atom Smasher is also going to be one of the characters in the Black Adam movie. Well, these two were always fighting, and one time the fight just got way out of hand. Nobody could stop it, including Captain Marvel, but then Hawkman shows up, and he's like, "All right," he throws his mace down. "This fight is finished," and Black Adam stops. And he seems to still hold Hawkman in some kind of high regard, and that he will listen to Hawkman. And at that point, Captain Marvel steps in and he says, "Well, let me explain to you who this guy is." And Hawkman's like, "No, you don't need to do that. He served together back in Egypt. I know all about his heroism back in ancient Egypt." And Captain Marvel was like, "Oh, just really what?" He's really surprised by that. And then later on, a few issues later, in JSA number 42, another storyline starts where Captain Marvel ends up in ancient Egypt. He goes back in time. And the setting for that story is that Vandal Savage has this whole huge army, including Metamorpho, who are just taking over everything. And they've destroyed Kandak. Now, Kandak is the country next door to Egypt, which is the home country of Black Adam. And they attacked there. Kandak was destroyed. They killed Black Adam's wife and his children, and Black Adam heads over to Egypt to join Khufu to help fight off Vandal Savage and his army. And when Captain Marvel arrives, Prince Khufu introduces Black Adam to Captain Marvel as a greater friend I could not ask for. These two are like brothers, and very, very close back at this time. This is from JSA number 43, back in February of 2003. Well, then in the very next issue, issue number 44, Teth Adam is kind of remembering what he went through, and he's talking about Khufu and Shiera, and he calls them the most righteous people he has ever met, except for maybe the wizard Shazam himself. And when his family was killed, he didn't go to his deity or anybody else for help. He went to Khufu for strength. And it just shows you how close these two were back in the day. Well, this story ends. Everybody returns back to their normal time. And then Black Adam in the 21st century, he gets tired of just the way the Justice Society handles things, handles the villains. So he quits. And he goes back to Kondak. Well, let me look at a map of exactly where Kondak is. Like I said earlier, it's right next door to Egypt. It's the southern half part of the Sinai Peninsula. And this is basically on a lot of DC maps. There's some different versions, but this was the easiest to understand, so I posted this one. But this is where Black Adam was from originally, and they're right next door to Prince Khufu in Egypt. But like I said, Black Adam quits the Justice Society, and he heads back to Kondak, and he's going to put together a team of super beings that will help him overthrow the military dictators of his country. And he's tired of their cruel treatment of his people, and he is going to do something about it. But before he can, he decides to get a group of super beings together. Well, an archaeologist that knows Carter Hall, Hawkman, contacts Carter Hall that he found an archaeological site in Kondak. So Hawkman and his team head over to Kondak to check it out. And it was strange, Hawkman didn't recognize the site at first. But then when they're checking out the site, Black Adam shows up with this character called Northwind. And now Northwind is actually Hawkman's godson. There's a tribe of bird people up in Greenland, and Hawkman and Hawkgirl discovered them back in the Golden Age. And a human professor and Featherin Woman fell in love, and they had a baby who became this character. At first, he was more human-like, and his name was Norda Cantrell. But slowly he evolved more and more, and finally became completely, just almost completely bird-like, and he can't even speak anymore, according to this story. And these two show up, and Black Adam first is like, okay, this is my wife's burial site, you need to get out of here. And with one clap of his hands, he covers up the whole site. And right after that, there's an interesting interaction where Black Adam wants Hawkman to join him in taking over Kondak. Now, Black Adam's thinking is that, he helped Prince Khufu back in ancient Egypt, so it's only fair that now Hawkman will help him. But Hawkman does not agree with the way Black Adam is doing things, and he refuses to help him. I think this is the point maybe that really finally broke their relationship completely, and Black Adam was now considered Hawkman as an enemy. But Hawkman takes his archaeological team and they leave, and then this sets up the next story, which is called The Black Rain. Now, this is a 6-issue series by Jeff Johns. It's a crossover between the JSA series and the Hawkman series. Now, it's my thinking that the Black Adam movie is going to be maybe loosely based on this story, is what my guess is. There's a lot of differences already because almost all of the Justice Society team was involved in this story. But as we know, there's only going to be 4 Justice Society characters in the movie. But I think this is a story that they're going to be following. But what happens was Black Adam, he finally takes over Kondak. He goes in with his team and they just completely wipe out the military dictators and kill them all, and takes over. Now this goes on the news. The Justice Society hears about it and like, well, as he's a former member, we can't let this stand. We got to go into Kondak and stop Black Adam. Well, they're discussing who's going to lead the team, and Green Lantern Alan Scott suggests that Hawkman should be the leader of this mission. Of course, Hawkman's wanting to do it. But then Stargirl's like, well, hey, nobody knows Black Adam better than Captain Marvel. Shouldn't he be the one that leads the team? But Captain Marvel agrees and says, no, Hawkman knows that area, and Black Adam better than anybody. He's the one that should be leading this team. So Hawkman leads the Justice Society into Kondak, and a big battle starts. And there's an interesting scene during the fight where there's a villain called Brainwave, and he can manipulate and mind control people with his mind. And he's talking with Black Adam about Hawkman. And he says he tries to go into Hawkman's mind, but there's something in there that he can't quite figure out what it is. But he doesn't think you'll have too much trouble taking control of Hawkman, and he doesn't consider Hawkman as much of a threat. But then Black Adam says, you're wrong, Hawkman is the greatest threat of them all. He's the one that has more influence over the rest of the Justice Society more than anybody, and he had hoped that he would join him in Kondak, but he didn't. Hawkman is not somebody to mess with, and Brainwaves, stands down. So that was an interesting interaction there. And later on in the story, towards the end, almost all the other villains have been defeated. Only Black Adam is left standing, and the Justice Society members just all go full all-out attack on Black Adam. But Black Adam slowly takes them out one by one, and there's a scene where he takes out Hawkgirl. And he could easily kill her, but he decides to just rip her wings off and knock her down to the ground. And as he says, he does this, he says, it's out of courtesy, out of our past relationship as Teth Adam and Shiera. And he remembers how Khufu was a better leader with her at his side. She gave him clarity and sympathy. But in this lifetime, Carter doesn't have both, because at this time Kendra was not the partner that Hawkman had had in the past, and he recognized that. But he respected Hawkgirl enough not to kill her, and that was a very interesting scene. But finally, at the end, everybody's just about out of power and beaten and everything, and it looks like Black Adam's going to win. But Green Lantern puts the rest of his power into Hawkman's mace, and Hawkman takes that and goes in and just whops the fire out of Black Adam. The nth metal mace, in different times over the years, has shown that it has kind of a way of absorbing energy and then storing it and using it. And I think this taking in Green Lantern's power made the mace just super powerful, and that not even Black Adam was able to withstand it. And finally, after a few blows, Black Adam's finally defeated, and they take their wounded, and the JSA, they want to arrest Black Adam. But the people of Kondak kind of surround him. He's their hero and protector now, and they will not let Justice Society touch him. So they say, you cannot step out of Kondak, you gotta stay here, and they take their wounded and go home. And that's where that story ended. A really great story. Then another trade of the 6 issues is coming out in June of this year, so I would definitely pick it up if you haven't read it yet. And then later on, again in JSA number 73, another incident happens in Kondak, this time with Eclipso. And Hawkman and the Justice Society all head back over to Kondak and try to help the people there, but Black Adam resents their presence, and he's just totally against Hawkman now. He's like, don't listen to these guys, they are enemy, and we need to defeat them. But finally, at the end of the battle, Atom Smasher sacrifices himself to save the day, and Black Adam's able to revive him, and he wants Atom Smasher to stay in Kondak. But Hawkman is like, stand down, get away from him, we're taking him home, and they head off and leave Black Adam all alone in Kondak. And then the next meeting comes in a series called Black Adam The Dark Age. It's a 6-issue miniseries that came out in 2007. And what's going on is Black Adam is wanting to bring back Isis from the dead, but to do that he needs an amulet, but it's been broken up into several pieces, and he has to first collect the pieces and put it back together before he can bring her back to life. And one of the pieces is stored away in the Stone Chat Museum in St. Roch, Louisiana. Now that's where Carter Hall is based at this time, as a curator of the museum and a university professor. Well, Black Adam gets into the museum and he finds a piece of amulet, and right when he finds it, Hawkman shows up, and these two kind of had words and everything, and then the all-out battle starts, and they end up flying up into the sky, but of course Black Adam is just too powerful for Hawkman, and he defeats Hawkman and takes off. But this was a pretty awesome battle to see. After that, there isn't too much. There's one series called the New 52 Futures End, which I did not care for. But there's a group of heroes that are heading back to Earth, and Black Adam and Hawkman are part of this group, but they never have a conversation, and they never really acknowledge their presence. So that was wasted in this series. The series wasted a lot of things. So it was too bad, but we didn't get an interaction there. Then finally, Hawkman is not in this story, but in Scott Snyder's Dark Knight's Metal series back in 2017 through 18. There's one scene where Hawkman has disappeared. Wonder Woman is trying to find Hawkman's mace that will help them defeat Barbatos. And right when she finds the mace, Black Adam shows up and tries to stop her. But she says, you know that this mace is hyperconductive, which absorbs and stores energy, like the energy that you create. And she just whops the fire out of Black Adam while she yells Shazam. It's a great scene, and she's like left admiring the mace. But there was that little, and Hawkman wasn't there, but Black Adam getting knocked out with Hawkman's mace. That was interesting. So I think the nth metal mace may have some effect on Black Adam, maybe in the movie. But that's pretty much what's been going on with these two. You can see that they used to be as close as brothers back in the day, but now they're pretty much broken their relationship and they're pretty much enemies now. But it will really be interesting to see if this movie will pick this up and let us see how these two used to have a relationship and a friendship with each other. That would be really interesting and fun to watch. The movie again comes out July 29th. So we got about 5 months to go. I'm really looking forward to this one. I hope they stick to the comics as closely as they can. We've always seen a lot of major changes, but that's the movies for you. But we'll see if they can come up with something really good. 5 months away. But thanks for listening. If you have any comments or something that I missed or something that another interaction between Hawkman and Black Adam that you know about that I didn't mention in the video, please feel free to add it in the comments. But thanks for listening, and I'll see you next time. Keep soaring. Bye.